arrived home, 6 months pregnant, expecting a quiet evening. Instead, my mother-in-law stood in the foyer, eyes cold as ice and arms crossed, like a judge ready to deliver a verdict. "You need to leave. Now," she says, her voice sharp and final. My heart dropped into my stomach as I lurched, clutching my belly, instinctively feeling my baby kick as if he wanted to kick her out himself. I glanced at my husband, waiting for him to defend me, whose shrug felt like a dagger. "It's better for everyone," he said casually. Shock, disbelief and betrayal tangled in my chest. I tried to speak, but the words froze in my throat. Fear seeped through every limb as I struggled to breathe. Where could I go? Who could I turn to? Every plan I had ever made evaporated. I could feel the eyes of judgment on me, the invisible pressure of a family united against me. My mind raced through possibilities, none comforting, none safe. I wanted to scream, to argue, to fight back, but exhaustion, panic, and betrayal anchored me in place. The world had tilted, and I was the only one falling. I realized the only choice is to leave or fight a family united against me. But I have nowhere to go, no one to call. But I wouldn't go quietly. To continue, please smash the like button, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss our revenge story. Drop your comments you've ever been betrayed. Returning from prenatal class the next day, exhausted and hoping things have calmed down. But when I slide my key into the lock, it doesn't turn. I try again. Nothing. I found the locks have been changed. I knock, then pound on the door. An unfamiliar laughter drifted from inside. My husband's girlfriend, a woman I've never seen before, opens it, smiling sweetly. "Can I help you?" she asks. My blood runs cold. The police arrived after my frantic call, and their tone was neutral. "It's a civil matter," one officer said, avoiding eye contact. "My name isn't on the lease." James made sure of that. This woman, whoever she is, laughs softly from inside my home. Rage, panic, and humiliation collided inside me. My phone trembled in my hand as I dialed my attorney, who immediately sounded alarmed. "They've covered their tracks perfectly," he warned. Everything I thought I owned, everything I had trusted, had been stripped away. I sank onto the steps, fists clenched, stomach twisting with both anger and fear. Every corner of my life had been invaded, every safe space erased. My mind flickered to worst-case scenarios. Losing my child, losing stability, losing myself entirely. And yet, beneath the terror, a small ember of defiance ignited. This wasn't just eviction. It is war. The following morning, a process server finds me at the coffee shop where I've been hiding. Legal separation papers filed without my knowledge, signed and stamped. The house, the bills, the security deposit, everything is stacked against me. My name appears nowhere on any document. When I confront James by phone, he acts fake surprise, confused, even hurt that I'd accuse him. His voice is so calm, so practiced. But his calculation betrayed him. "I didn't know they'd do this," he murmured, as though I would believe him. I feel like I'm losing my mind. I skimmed the documents, each line cutting deeper. Every document, every signature, every moment of trust I gave him has been weaponized. Every right I had once assumed I held was gone. I sit in my car in the parking lot, papers scattered across my lap. I realize the nightmare is painfully real. The walls close in. My chest tightens, but I couldn't cry. Not yet. There was no room for tears in a storm this cold. The betrayal wrapped around me like chains. I could almost hear the whispers of my own parents, far away and powerless, warning me of battles I wasn't ready to fight. My phone felt heavier than ever, the only lifeline to an attorney, a friend, anything. I pressed my hands to my belly, feeling my unborn child kick as though urging me to survive. And they think this will break me. Within days, the psychological assault began and went full swing. Neighbors whispers and look at me strangely. The police show up twice for wellness checks because someone called saying I was unstable and might harm myself. Friends grew wary, some raised eyebrows. Even my OBGYN called, voice tinged with worry, concerned about my stress levels being unsafe for my baby. I find out later that James's mother, my mother-in-law, has been spreading rumors, planting seeds of doubt everywhere. "She's unstable," she says casually to anyone who would listen. "My own family lives across the country and can't help immediately. Every day feels like walking through a minefield. Every glance potentially a trap, Every smile a mask. Even phone call could be another attack. I barely sleep, but I could not risk my child. Not my body, not my fragile sense of dignity. The baby kicks constantly, sensing my fear. But through the terror, something hardens inside me. I paced through the search for small apartments for the one I could take on rent. The city outside moved on, oblivious to my quiet war. But I refused to let their narratives define me. I whispered to myself, I will survive. I will thrive. They won't win. But I'm not going to let them define me. After 3 nights in my car, a college friend, sensing my desperation, offers me a small apartment she owns. Smells like old carpet. Cheap apartment. Bare walls, a single cot, a crib I could barely afford. The walls echo with emptiness. Humiliation clung to me like a shadow that followed in every step. I see pity in people's eyes. But along with the shame comes clarity. I must survive. Not just for me but for my child. I began taking freelance work, odd jobs, and small consulting projects, anything to build a financial cushion. Each dollar earned feels like a small victory. Each tiny paycheck a step toward independence. I create spreadsheets, track expenses, document everything. I learn to stretch every dollar, to negotiate fiercely, to build credibility quietly. Every email, every interaction, every small project became a seed for my future. Nights were hardest. Staring at the ceiling, I plan my next moves carefully, listening to my own heartbeat and the faint kicks of the baby inside me. I vowed not to surrender, not to collapse under the weight of betrayal and fear. I wasn't just surviving. I was planning. At a small networking event for tech consultants, I met Steve. A calm, thoughtful man who runs a consulting firm. Composed and observant, noticing the poise I maintained and how I carry myself despite obvious stress and my growing belly. While others avoid me, sensing drama, he asks about my projects, my skills, my vision. Not about my pregnancy. Not about my situation. Just my work. Respect and empathy radiated from him in a way that felt grounding. I didn't feel pitted or judged, just seen. For the first time in weeks, someone sees me as capable, not broken. We talk about market strategies, technology trends, and innovation. I felt a flicker of hope, a reminder that the world beyond betrayal still existed. We spoke briefly. He hands me his business card and a connection forming silently between us. Let's stay in touch, he says genuinely. A spark of trust forms, small but real. Hope flickers in my chest. Empathy and curiosity replace judgment. I didn't know then how important he'd become. Weeks after, chaos erupted on my job. My biggest client cancels our contract. When I press for reasons, they hesitate, then admit someone called claiming I was unreliable, unstable, and possibly dangerous. Another contract almost collapsed. My blood runs cold as panic surged like ice in my veins. I know exactly who made the calls. James and his family are trying to destroy my career by calling my clients, planting seeds of doubt and claiming I was unreliable and unstable. Without income, I can't support my baby. I can't fight back legally. I sit in that empty apartment, feeling walls close in again. I realized surviving wasn't enough. I needed strategy. But something shifts. I start documenting everything. Every email, every phone call. Notes, screenshots, timestamps, every piece of evidence of their harassment. Anything that could protect me later. I create folders, timelines, recordings when legal. Every move I made from now on would be calculated. Precise. Deliberate. Panic became fuel. Fear transformed into determination. Every move I made from now on would be calculated. Please smash the like button, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss our revenge story. Drop your comments you've ever been betrayed. Just when things seem darkest, my former manager from 3 years back unexpectedly reaches out. She's heard through mutual connections that I'm freelancing and need someone with my exact skills. Impressed by my professional reputation despite my current struggles, she offers a consulting project to help rebrand her company's digital presence. It's not huge, but it's legitimate and enough to begin rebuilding. The pay is a fair start and offers steady work that could enable me project my professional pedigree to bigger industry players. Suspense builds as I juggle prenatal appointments, freelance assignments, and mounting legal threats from James's attorney. I work late into the night, determined to prove my worth. Exhausting, but I found rhythm in the chaos. Each successful project became a lifeline. Each positive feedback a victory. The tiniest accomplishments felt monumental. Proof that I was not invisible, not powerless. This small opportunity was my lifeline, and my first step toward proving that they underestimated me. The first public confrontation arrived faster than I expected. At a charity board meeting, my former manager invites me to. James's mother appears. I see her across the room, her eyes lighting up with malicious glee, smirking like a predator. She loudly questions my mental stability, implying I'm unstable and shouldn't be around professional settings, in an attempt to humiliate me in front of influential industry leaders. The room goes quiet. Every eye turns toward us. I remained calm, measured, professional. I looked directly at her and calmly explained my work, my credentials, and my current successful project. My voice doesn't waver. Each sentence I spoke was deliberate, each smile controlled. Shock rippled through the room as the crowd started looking uncomfortable. Not at me, but at her audacity. Social outrage stirred quietly among those who recognized the injustice. For the first time I sensed that my strength was visible, that composure was power. They thought I'd crumble. But I only grew stronger. After the meeting and the attendant encounter with James' mother, Steve began noticing my resilience and approaches me quietly. That took courage, he says simply without grand gestures. Over coffee, he doesn't pry into my personal drama. Instead, he connected me with other professionals in his network who respect competence over gossip. People that respect talent over circumstance. A subtle mentorship began, not rescuing me, but giving me reach, credibility, and guidance without taking over, making space for my voice, my expertise. I felt a quiet reassurance in his presence, a reminder that strength could coexist with support. Our interactions were professional, respectful, and deeply encouraging. It was a lifeline in a storm of betrayal. Slowly, a soft romantic tension grows between us. Nothing inappropriate. Just admiration, connection, and mutual respect. He sees past the chaos, past the pregnancy, past the victim everyone else assumes I am. He sees the professional, the fighter, the woman rebuilding herself. For the first time, someone saw me beyond the chaos. Late one evening, while organizing and sifting through old financial document, bank statements and invoices for my attorney, I discover something shocking. James and his mother has been siphoning money from a shared account to fund lifestyle, vacation and luxuries while I struggled. Money that was supposed to be our savings. Evidence of financial manipulation. Possibly fraud. Shock clamped my chest. My hands tremble as I made copies, screenshots and notes of every statement. Every transaction. Proof that could topple them if necessary. I secure copies in multiple locations. This discovery shifts everything. For the first time I felt a flicker of power. The fear that had dominated months was beginning to loosen its grip. I didn't boast or confront. I simply observed, calculated, and prepared. Every piece of evidence was another brick in a wall protecting me and my unborn child. I'm no longer just defending myself. I have leverage. Real power. They thought they control everything, every asset, every narrative. They thought they had all the control. They were dead wrong. Then a prenatal scare that got my heart frozen. At 35 weeks pregnant, I wake up to severe cramping and bleeding. Fear, unlike anything I've ever felt, consumes me, gnawing like a wolf at my nerves. I call an ambulance, alone in that tiny apartment, convinced I'm losing my baby. At the hospital they stabilize me, but I'm ordered to rest completely. Steve, alerted by my former manager, quietly shows up somehow, assisting without commandeering. He stayed beside me, doesn't ask invasive questions. He just sits quietly, making sure I'm not alone, handling calls I can't take, bringing me water, offering guidance and calm without overshadowing my autonomy. Hours felt like years as monitors beeped and doctors whispered. Relief washed over me with arrival of my baby. C-section and baby is stable. Overwhelming tears of joy and gratitude. I realized that survival meant more than housing or finances. It meant protecting life itself. If I had lost my baby, it means I lost the fight. I could lose everything. Determined to reclaim control, I rebuilt my professional life. Freelance projects grew steadily. My reputation cemented by quality and reliability. A tech startup noticed my work. They need someone to lead their digital transformation, and I've proven I can deliver. Within weeks, They offered me a leadership position with real authority and a real stable pay, recognizing my strategic insight. For the first time since being thrown out, I have stability. I navigated meetings, timelines, and team management while also balancing with postpartum and being a nursing mother to my baby. I sign a lease on a better apartment. I buy real furniture. I set up a nursery. Betrayal and humiliation begin fading into strategy and empowerment. Each success was a quiet defiance against the humiliation I had endured. Slowly, my life shifted from survival to strategy. I documented achievements meticulously, knowing that every note could later reinforce my credibility. I'm building a future. I was building a life they couldn't touch. Please smash the like button, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss our revenge story. Drop comments if you've ever been betrayed. Just as things stabilize, James, my ex-husband, never one to concede, strikes. He files for emergency custody, claiming I'm unfit, unstable, and a danger to our child. Legal documents arrive alleging everything from mental illness to substance abuse. All lies, but terrifying nonetheless. He's trying to take my baby away from me. The injunctions pile up. My attorney works overtime as legal threats escalate. The stress threatens to break me, but I calmly file counterclaims, presenting my own evidence of his manipulations. Financial fraud documents. Recorded harassment from my ex-family with proof of the family's coordinated campaign against me. The legal and emotional stakes skyrocket. Court dates loom. Everything hangs in the balance. I felt ready and even steadier than ever. Every document, every witness, every email became a weapon. Not for revenge yet, but for protection. I realized that this battle will take some time, with no shortcuts or impulsive moves. Calculation, patience, and strategy would win. The fight would be long. But I was ready. The injunction hearing arrived. The judge reviews both sides. James's attorney presents their case with confidence. The courtroom filled with tension as my attorney presents evidences to our counterclaims. The financial fraud, lies and manipulations, the harassment campaigns, the coordinated effort to destroy my career and reputation. I stayed composed, projecting calm confidence. The courtroom goes silent. The judge's expression shifts from neutral to stern. The injunction is dismissed. James's emergency custody claim is denied. My attorney secures temporary protection and access to funds that were rightfully mine. Walking out of that courtroom, I feel vindication and relief flooding through me. But I stay calm. I know the story isn't over. They'll try again. They always do. This was just the beginning of the reckoning. My work at the tech firm accelerates. Months of strategic rebuilding culminated in a high-stakes corporate project. I led a team in a challenging product launch, coordinating developers, transform market positions, and design while simultaneously managing home front, ensuring my baby's health. When the campaign exceeded targets, praise poured in from colleagues, board members, and industry media. Interviews requests from national media poured in as visibility surged. Word spreads. I watched from the sidelines as James and his family's arrogance crack under the weight of my quiet success as they hear about me through mutual acquaintances. I can imagine their faces, the disbelief, the rage. Social comparison shifts dramatically. They feel small now, irrelevant. Steve, always present and ever supportive, remain in the background, offering subtle advice and connecting me to key professionals without ever overshadowing me. His calm presence reinforced my confidence and reminded me I wasn't alone. Our relationship deepening naturally. Lost in my thought, I flash back at the challenges of the past few years. Navigating them and Steve's steady guide and support has been my greatest gift. In the midst of this thought, deep voice interrupted. You are an awesome woman. These are no mean accomplishments. Congratulations, Eve. Tears well up in my eyes as I gazed at Steve right beside me. None of these could have been possible without your steady support and guide. You met me at my lowest and have ever since remained the fire behind my turbine. I love you, Steve. I responded as I melt away in warm embrace, his arms covering me like a shield as our soft emotional intimacy and trust grow. He never rushes me, just steady, quiet support. Each acknowledgement I received felt like a stone placed on the tower of my eventual triumph, proof that persistence, strategy, and dignity could overcome humiliation. They wouldn't believe what I had planned next. Over the following weeks, I systematically document every unethical action James and his family had committed. Financial fraud, harassment, legal manipulation, false reports to authorities, defamation of character. Each email, every whispered threat, and all financial inconsistencies became part of a meticulous blueprint. Nights blurred into days as I cross-referenced bank records, witness accounts, and legal documents. Every move is intentional, deliberate, and precise. I organize everything into a comprehensive file with timestamps, witnesses, and supporting evidence. I wasn't just seeking revenge. I am building a fortress of evidence that could withstand any legal scrutiny needed to secure lasting justice. My attorney helps in ensuring everything is legally sound. My focus sharpened, and the humiliation of the past became fuel for a strategy that would ensure they couldn't recover from their arrogance, and ensure they can never do this to anyone else. Each piece of evidence is another layer of protection for my child. Every action I undertook reinforced the truth. Power is earned through patience, intelligence, and control, not impulsive outrage. Suspense builds as I prepare for the final confrontation. Every piece of evidence was another brick in my tower. Out of nowhere, an investigative journalist contacts me. She's working on a story about family financial fraud and legal abuse. Someone tipped her off about James' family's business practices and she became intrigued. She wants my story, anonymously if I prefer, promising discretion while exploring the injustice I endured. The thought of exposure both thrilled and terrified me. Public outrage could erupt. It could be the vindication I needed, or backfire if handled poorly. I weighed every word, ensuring protection for myself and my child. After consulting my attorney, I agreed. I provided documentation, evidence, testimony. She verifies everything independently. The story is bigger than just me. James' mother has done this before, to others, using family money and legal pressure to control and manipulate. Morally righteous anger stirred in me, the kind that resonates with anyone who has been wronged. The article is scheduled for publication in a major outlet. The public would finally see the truth. But the final blow was still mine. Steve's support evolved, quietly deepening into something more than professional guidance. I seek his opinion in every important decision I make, while he respects boundaries, allowing me the space to be myself, to decide and plan, while still offering strategic insight and emotional steadiness. Our subtle natural admiration and trust for each other grow much more intense, and we allowed it take a firmer grip of us, never pushed back, never forced. The tension was soft, real, emotional, and stabilizing. In this chaos of betrayal and corporate maneuvering, knowing that he is always there when I need someone to lean on gave me confidence, not just professionally, but personally. We take walks. We talk about the future. About hopes, dreams, fears. One evening, he tells me he admires my brilliance, my strength, my resilience, and my refusal to be defined by trauma. Somewhere in the chaos of the past couple of years, feelings have grown. Real feelings. Not born from vulnerability or neediness, but from genuine connection, intimacy, and love. "Please marry me, Evelyn," Steve thundered unexpectedly. I realized I am in love again. Carefully, wisely, and with someone who truly valued me. Not as a woman under siege, but as a talented professional and a capable strategist. "You are my heartbeat. You are such an enigma. I can't even process thought of not having by my side. Yes, I want to be yours forever," I replied. We had a quiet wedding in a couple of weeks after. The investigative article publishes. It is thorough, damning, and impossible to ignore. James's family's financial schemes, harassment patterns, and legal manipulations are exposed in detail. Other victims come forward. The public backlash was immediate. Social media erupts. Local news picks up the story. Friends, colleagues, and media outlets began dissecting the story, uncovering the extent of their arrogance and malice. Authorities open investigations. I watch from a distance as everything unravels for them. I release my own evidence to appropriate authorities, supporting the investigation. Public and social backlash remained unrelenting for months, dealing a fatal blow to their contrived reputation. The one thing they valued most crumbles. Business relationships dissolve. Social invitations stop. The community that once elevated them now shuns them. Suspense spikes as consequences cascade. They would pay for their arrogance. Please smash the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a revenge story. Drop your comments you've ever been betrayed. Steve and I welcomed our second child, a baby girl whose arrival brought warmth, stability, and joy. Nights were sleepless but filled with laughter and quiet moments of awe. This partnership was different. Respect, trust, and mutual support replaced the chaos of my past. Professionally, I continued to lead the strategy team, scaling projects while nurturing my family. Steve's steady presence allowed me to focus, confident in the knowledge that personal happiness would not derail my ambition. My second pregnancy, now behind me, I became a symbol not of limitation, but of resilience. I realized that love, family, and career could coexist, and even flourish. Amidst these happenings, a major tech corporation reached out. They needed a senior executive capable of leading global expansion and securing a board presence. I approached interviews with strategic precision, articulating my vision while subtly signaling the integrity and resilience that had guided me through every betrayal. Board members, some aware of my past ordeal, were impressed, not just by my expertise, but by the composure and clarity I maintained under pressure. This opportunity felt like a reward for endurance, patience, and intelligence. My success was undeniable, but one act remained to complete the story. I received the offer of a lifetime. Senior Vice President, leading an influential team with real authority and compensation reflecting my value. Steve was there when the call came, with pride radiating through every word. "You are my eagle, keep soaring," he said. I smiled, feeling strength, love, and empowerment in one moment. The offer wasn't just about money or status. It was recognition of every struggle I endured, every calculated step I had taken, and every ounce of dignity I preserved. I had earned not just survival, but triumph. And I knew in that moment, my next act would be poetic justice. A week after I accepted the new role as Senior Vice President, SVP, word came that my ex-husband and his family had applied for positions in my new firm. The arrogance in thinking they could waltz into my domain stunned me, but I stayed calm. Interviews were scheduled, yet I didn't intervene publicly. I allowed my team and HR to handle the process, subtly ensuring transparency. Watching them stumble under scrutiny, answers rehearsed, confidence hollow, was a quiet vindication. No speeches, no drama, just the natural consequence of their hubris. They had underestimated the depth of my preparation and the resilience I had built. Each misstep they made was amplified, leaving them exposed and powerless. Their arrogance would be their downfall, and I was ready to witness it unfold. Under my strategic leadership, measurable growth surged across the company. Projects once stagnant now flourished, revenue streams expanded, and global brand recognition skyrocketed. Board members publicly praised my foresight, and media outlets featured my journey as a tale of perseverance and strategic genius. Steve was always by my side, not in a shadow, but as a partner, sharing quiet moments of joy and support. I felt a sense of balance, of personal and professional alignment I had never imagined possible. Every achievement, every milestone was a statement. I had rebuilt not just my career, but my life on my own terms. I had reached the pinnacle, and it felt right. My ex-husband made one last attempt to contact me, begging for influence, for guidance, for forgiveness. I listened, silently, my resolve unshaken. There was no room for manipulation or guilt. Steve and I watched together, quietly, knowing our family was safe, secure, and thriving. Peace and strength radiated from every decision I had made. My past no longer dictated my present. Every calculated step, every act of endurance had led to this point. Some victories are silent, but the echo lasts forever. Please smash the like button, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a revenge story. Drop your comments you've ever been betrayed. I stood in my office, glass walls revealing the sprawling city below. The weight of what I had endured, the betrayal, humiliation, and relentless struggle, was balanced by the triumph I now held. Steve, my husband and confidant, and our 2 children are living reminders of love, stability, and support. A letter from the board lay on my desk. You rose despite adversity. Your integrity and vision are unmatched. I smiled, knowing every obstacle had strengthened me. My ex-husband and family's manipulations were powerless. Justice had been served naturally. I didn't just survive. I thrived. The city lights shimmered like a reflection of every challenge overcome, every victory earned, and every quiet, enduring act of courage I had made. This was not the end. This was the life I was meant to lead.